What's going on, cunts? Welcome back to another trade recap. Today is October 26th. We're going to be taking a look at SPX, the E-mini contracts, the NQ contracts, and QQQ, most importantly, QQQ. I will reiterate what we said yesterday and what I actually just posted on my Discord and TikTok. We were going to see bearish price action tomorrow. And I predicted that on SPX, we would see a move down into this order block, this 4 hour order block. This weekly, my bad, 4 hour. This weekly order block that we see right here. And I want you to note that tomorrow is Friday, which means that tomorrow is the very last day of this week. And what I would like to see is two things. The first thing is obviously I want to see a close under this pink fair value gap. And I'm pretty sure this is a daily fair value gap if I'm not wrong. It's something like that. I'm not too sure where we got that. Could be a 4 hour. Looks like it was a 4 hour. Yeah, looks like it was a 4 hour fair value gap. But I want to see on the week, right? Because I know Friday's going to be bullish. Right, I know Friday is going to be some bullish, but what I don't want to do is close in this fair value gap or even higher. I don't want to retrace this candle. I want to hold this candle and use this fair value gap as an inversion fair value gap. So I even mark it up for you guys, right? I'm going to use inversion fair value gap, right? Or I fair value gap like this, right? That's what I want to see with this fair value gap here as price action moves either lower or higher. Now, if it moves higher, like I said, I don't want this to close above. It can trade in here, but I need it to come down back somewhere in this range. If it trades lower, where we open on the daily, if it trades lower, then I would be fine, right? Because it would trade lower into this order block. This order block is a very, very small range. So there's very probability that, obviously, I'm pretty sure this hit the consequent encroachment, if I'm not wrong. What's the consequent encroachment of this? Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, so the wick right here hit the consequent encroachment. So if it's going to go down, pre-market, right, if you do my pre-market analysis, and I notice that there's a lot of bearish confluence, lots of displacement downwards in the pre-market, aftermarket, stuff like that, I'm looking to go and fill this 4 hour order block. And as you can notice, we do have equal lows like down here, right? We have this, I guess this like equal lows here that you can mark out that we can also target with this magnet, right? So we have two areas, right? If we break this first area, we can target this black area right here, just so you guys can have an idea. And I'm pretty sure we've already done that on NQ. So that was that was SPX. Now let's get into the trade. Today we had lots of news. Let me actually pull up Forex Factory here. So today, obviously Thursday, we had advanced GDP quarterly. This was bearish news, right? Because if you could see, actual greater than forecast is good for currency. It was greater than forecast, which means it's good for DXY, which means it's bad for SPX, which means we have bearish news on SPX. Obviously, if you're trading SPX. Same with unemployment claims, right? Actual less than forecast is good for currency. So that means that this was greater. So this was actually bullish news for us. So it was kind of confluence, but it wasn't too big of a spread, nor for this one. So not super, not a super big slip. And then tomorrow we have Friday, and we have core PC prices index monthly. And we also have revised UOM consumer sentiment. This is a big one. I'm expecting a very big slip because we can see the previous one was 63. Forecast is still 63. And so if this slips any kind of movement, if this goes down to 60, we're seeing a very big price movement. Core PC, I'm hoping that this stays where this is, right? Because greater than forecast. Yeah. So if we go higher than I want to see this higher. So I want to see this at least 0.4, if not 0.5. Could it go higher? And that's at 8:30, and then current live market would be 10 a.m. EOM consumer sentiment. So with that being said, I might not even trade Friday. I just want to see where price wants to go Friday, right? I might not even trade it. So it looks weird on the 1 hour, but I actually caught this move like quite literally perfectly. And so what I did previously, okay, so I looked at this. I had this 4 hour fair value gap that we marked out all the way back here, right? This fair value gap with like a balanced price range. I'm actually not too sure how we figured this out. I'll have to go back in a video to figure that out. But we are, as you can see, at 1 a.m. We come down, inverse, right? Doji, bounce back up at 5 a.m. We then move up, and I'm pretty sure this is like, yeah, I was going to say, I saw this like, I saw this pre-market. I remember this. We come down, and if we do our kill zones, it's got to be on the 30 minute. We can see we had London lows, Asian highs up here. So if you see this market structure, there's Asian highs here that are very close to being swept. And there's also, again, I wanted to point this out. There was a 4 hour fair value gap here. If you guys noticed, boom, that was a 4 hour fair value gap. And so in the 1 hour, 30 minute, actually, 1 hour, I'm going to count this as 1 hour. There's also a 1 hour fair value gap here that you could have noted. But I went down to 30 minute, and you can see that there was the two like fair value gaps contradicting each other. So I always like to go on the smaller time frame. So I delete the 4 hour, right? Because there is a fair value gap in the 1 hour and 30 minutes. So I was like, okay, let me mark out this 30 minute fair value gap. And that's like the lowest I'll go. Let's see if it's actually like accurate. Oh no, I did it wrong. I gotta bring this here like this, boom. Okay, so that was that. And then what I did, or what you could have done, is drew the range. And you would have realized that this actually hit the consequent encroachment of that range, which turns out that's pretty good for us. And I'll explain what happened and what I decided to do for the trade. But anyways, Asian highs are here, right? So you have pre-market targeted highs. Then you have Asian lows down here, which gets swept. Boom, we go down. We create London lows. These are going to be important because these are always liquidity targets when SPX is moving like this. You see that this range right here, right? You have a fair value gap here. We have a strong pink fair value gap, almost inverse. At this point, it's inverse. That's holding up, and you want to see a very strong fair value gap hold up. 1 hour has this fair value gap. 30 minute has this fair value gap. 15 minute has this fair value gap. 5 minute has this still 5 minute. Like, look at this 5 minute fair value gap. Huge. 3 minute, probably even bigger. Boom, right? So they all line up, which makes this a very, very strong fair value gap, and a fair value gap to hold up, basically. So after we mark that out, right, I wait for price. I want to see what price does, and I want to see where it goes. So we get here at 7 a.m. We come low, but not to the London lows, almost sweep them at 7:30, and then we just bounce off. We rocket ship off. This indication right here, this little move right here, just tells me that where like price is gonna come back and tap into this, because there's some kind of order block or some candle out here that I will not mark that repriced the price all the way up. And obviously this is like right before 8:30, and I'm pretty sure there was news. Yeah, 8:30. So it could have been that, right? News haven't dropped yet, but it's always like consolidation. We want to break out of that pre-market consolidation. We target Asian highs, which was expected. We close above Asian highs. And so now I'm expecting this move into this, not inverse fair value gap, just bearish fair value gap and consequent encroachment. So as you can see, this is a 30 minute, and it respects it. It moves up, hits the consequent encroachment. We allow for this. Like, we don't need a tick perfect move. We allow for this to happen. We create New York highs. Pretty sure this is when market opens. So we like reach up. Let's look at the 5 minute, see what happens on the 5 minute. Let me delete this for now. Sweep Asian highs up here. Come up. News gets released around here. You can see the big spike up. So that's, bullish PD arrays and bullish confluence. Boom, spike up. Get to consequent encroachment, create that New York high, and then we start rejecting, go back up, start rejecting, start back up, and then we make our final down move. You can't really trade this choppiness, like even, probably can't even do it on the 1 minute, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it went up, went back down, went back up, and then the second time it went up was a price perfect action, right? So it was like sweep, create that New York high, we're not gonna go higher, trade below consequent encroachment, tap that consequent encroachment, and then that's where we take off, yeah, like a fucking rocket. We just take off. We reject off this fair value gap, and I'm hoping to see that this fair value gap does not get tested again, obviously. So then what I do is like, oh, I'm gonna wait for 10 a.m., right? Because 10 a.m. Is when I usually get around the charts and start trading and start looking at the chart. Well, I'm already looking at the chart. And as you can see at 10 a.m. here, I arrive, 15-minute chart, doesn't look like much, right? But then it gets down to this fair value gap. It trades here, and what I like to do is I don't like to enter at 10. I just like to watch where market is going before I enter a position. Now, if this, boys, ladies and gentlemen, if this price right here were to just rip through target London lows, I would have entered like off this London low retracement, right? I wouldn't have be like, oh my God, I just lost a huge move. Like this is dumping. No, it doesn't matter. So I waited for 10. Let's go down to the 5 minute. 10 a.m. hits, right? And I can see that we hit this fair value gap. We're not closing under this fair value gap. We're kind of trading down, trading down, trading down. These candles are pretty like wicky, pretty small. Like you're noticing this, like this looks like a bearish, boom, it's going down, but then it goes up and then it like stays at the same level. It's consolidating, kind of comes down, really comes down. You know, this might be like, oh my God, it's going down. But if you notice, there is liquidity down here that was created by 8:30 news. And so that also plays a part in liquidity, right? That's 8:30, like liquidity news. That's high probability liquidity out of the, and this is also swing low, very high probability, very bullish wick. So I realized that very late after 10, I'm like, why is it going up? That's why. It went back up, swept this, right? Went back up, and then this is where we had our bullish run, which I was not expecting. But it actually wanted to retrace back into this 30-minute fair value gap, obviously trading under the consequent encroachment. And that's where I took my trade of the breaker structure. And I, oops, wrong one. Entered right up here or something on the candle. After I saw that, didn't really wait for displacement because I'm seeing this so many times that it just comes up, comes down, and then the moment it gets rejected anytime, if it does get pushed up by a fair value gap, then it does, and then I lose money. But at least I'm learning that I can't be doing that. So I target the highs, right? Because if price wants to go higher, it will take out those highs and it will tell me clearly that that is where it wants to go. Maybe that wasn't our last leg, but the moment I saw this candle break structure of this low, I knew that this was, you know, this was displacement and I had to enter. So realistically, I probably entered like right around here, like right at the bottom, like probably right here. Stop was here. And so obviously, as you know, my target was the London low. So my first take profit was London low. Okay. That was the first trade. So that's a little 20 to 9 RR. And then we had, and then my final target, because I knew this was going, was this red line right here. And that was because that was the weekly fair value gap that we had marked out. And SPX actually came into the consequent encroachment, which I did not target personally on SPX. I just targeted the top because I knew that this was going to happen, like a very bullish candle was going to do. And price action was going to be shit after that, and I didn't want to be in that. So targeted the breaker structure like that, boom, displacement. So I call this like this is like a unicorn institutional order flow. It's when institutions tap back into a fair value gap like this to really signal the down move, and that's where I got in. So really all I was missing is like 3 pips, really, like maybe 4 cents of a dollar move. So that was SPX. QQQ, again, this weekly fair value gap is seen literally perfectly on QQQ, right? Huge gap right here. Consequent encroachment of this gap is right here. As you can see, consequent encroachment. And I want you to take a look at this chart just for a second. And you tell me, if this is not just beautiful, if this is not like perfect. Like I put this on my chart yesterday, expecting a reaction and a move down into this fair value gap. And the first thing it does, and it taps my consequent encroachment to the dot. That's the weekly. And then the daily. The daily taps it too. Beautiful. Okay. Nice little down move. This was expected. Did not take a trade, but you can see, oh yeah, so this is already active. You can see QQQ actually didn't really reach for, if I'm going down to 30 minute, oh no, it did. Yeah. So London highs got swept, and same on QQ. Look at this. If we go on the 1 hour, for example, we can notice, and I'm pretty sure this is on regular. No. So regular usually has gaps. Boom, we close, and there is a 1 hour fair value gap right here that is formed. 1 hour. And then there's also a second one right here. But then if you go to the 4 hour, for example, what's bigger? Oh, I know. It's obvious, no? You delete these little tiny ones, and the big one is right here. That's your fair value gap right there. That's a big one. And NQ is more volatile, so it we went up a little bit. But that was our fair value gap right there. Yeah, and then it just rejected. And I bet you if you go, yeah, look at this. 30 minute, there's nothing. Actually, 30 minute there is. Look at this. 30 minute, there's a top fair value gap up here. But if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty, there's also a 15-minute fair value gap right here, which I believe gets tapped into. Oh, no, not even. Right here. Gets tapped into perfectly. Right? I mean, like, if that doesn't tell you, you know what I mean? And I bet on the 5 minute there's a higher fair, yeah, there's a little tiny fair value gap up here. So see how I wanted to reach the top and not just reject right off the edge right here? It's because we had that 8:30 bullish news. So it really wanted to rally up, and it was like, where's the last draw for bearish people? You know, it's right here. It's this tiny like 5 minute fair value gap that it could really hold up. And then off there, we just target London lows. We actually reached London lows before we make this move up, same as SPX. No, not same as SPX. SPX came lagging behind. NQ took out, QQQ took out London lows before. So that was a trade recap. I can't make him too long today because I have some work to do and I have to go. But if you guys want to learn more, I will probably open a Discord where I post my trades and stuff like that, and post my videos and just other stuff like that. Again, I'm still learning, so this is not financial advice. You shouldn't be trading off me. All I'm just saying is I'm learning very quickly, and it's making a lot of sense now. And I'm seeing things more clearly. I just need to get better with my discipline. I know everyone says that, but I know exactly what I need to do. It's not happening. It's not clicking at the moment. And that's also just the things I do on a day-to-day basis that just make me feel like shit, and then I just can't trade. Also the times, bro, I fucking hate school, bro. I wish I could get out of school and just trade. This shit is so annoying. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow, but yeah, I hope you guys learned something.